bum 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 bum. Hold on, closing the curtains here so that I've got optimal lighting. Hey everybody, good to see you. I didn't know if I was going to do a Periscope today, but here I am. Watch my lighting improve in a moment. That didn't help much. Okay, so you probably are missing the simultaneous sip. But you came to the right place because I've got a tiny hotel cup and I'm ready. And you don't need much. You know what you need: cup, mug, stein, chalice, canteen thermos, vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the simultaneous sip. Well, I had to wake up pretty early this morning, about 3:30 this morning, which, given the time change recently, is more like 2:30 my time. And I've got a long day ahead, but I'm up for it because I had coffee. So I'm on the road promoting my new book that came out when? Today. It's out today. So I went on Fox and Friends this morning talking about the book. And um, the bad news is my book is coming out exactly the same day as Don Jr.'s book and Brian Kilmeade's book. You know, both of those books would be #1 bestsellers, I would expect. So, sometime today, many of you will be receiving your copy. Those of you who are pre-ordering it. Somebody asked me on the comments if I moved to a better hotel, and the answer is yes. Yes, I did. I'm in a hotel that is so good now that my toilet recognizes me when I come in. Well, like it's one of these high-tech toilets that you walk in and the top opens because it's sensed that you're nearby. It still doesn't know if I'm a boy or a girl, if you know what I mean, but at least it raises the lid. And that thing, according to the instructions, that thing will wash stuff on you that you've never even seen. So yes, the shower was good, except it was cold. I did expect warm water in my shower, but apparently that wasn't going to be delivered today. So I did start my day with a cold shower. I'm not sure what's up with that. I guess I should look into it. But let's talk about some stuff in the news. President Trump has announced that if the president of Mexico asks him for help, he will send the military and clean out the cartel for Mexico, as long as they ask for it. Now, what are the odds that the Mexican president will call President Trump and say, heck yes, I never thought of that before. Why don't you help us? Probably low. Something tells me he's not going to place that call. But then the question is, what do we do then? What do we do then? I think we have to find out what's going on with the 9 Mormons who got killed today. Was it yesterday? I think it was today. We probably need to find out what's up with that, because maybe it was an accident. But if that's the kind of accident, meaning they thought they were killing somebody else, but they killed a lot of women and children. And at some point, they should have figured out, hey, this does not look like a rival cartel. This looks like a lot of families. So we don't know what was going on yet. Probably never will, because we're not going to talk to the cartel people who did it. But haven't you wondered why we're not already militarily attacking at least the headquarters? Why we're not sending SEAL Team 6 down there? I guess we have to wait for Mexico to say yes. But I have a suspicion that we can make that happen. If we need to, can we make the president of Mexico, indirectly through pressure or whatever, invite us in militarily? So we'll see. I don't know the answer to that question. My guess is that nothing will come of this, because the most likely outcome is that the president of Mexico will say, oh, we got this, and then we don't have a justifiable reason to go in. But I suspect we're going to start looking for reasons. The murder of the family might give us a reason. If it turns out that that was intentional, and it was some kind of, I don't know, message to the United States or Americans, I would expect that we would find some reason to respond. Watch MSM and laugh at the pickle they are in, somebody says. Okay, I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, they were killing children and women point blank. Some of the worst things you've ever heard about. Accident. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm buying the idea that it was an accident, but we can't quite rule that out yet. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I thought I was going to mention it on Fox and Friends this morning, but the questions went in a different direction. Here's how I think the president should reframe the Ukrainian phone call. The worst way to deal with it is to accept the Democrats' framing of it, which is that he was digging up dirt on an opponent. If you accept that framing, there's no place to go. You end up arguing about quid pro quos. Are they there? Are they not? But that's a sort of a losing argument. Here's a better argument. I've tried a few different reframes, but I think this is the best one. And it goes like this. The president of the United States was asking the president of Ukraine to investigate something that was of great interest to every American voter. If you're a Democrat, don't you want to know if your preferred candidate, let's say you're a Biden voter, don't you want to know if there's any problem there? Because there's enough of a rumor, there's enough of a fact base to say that there's some Biden connections. Certainly Hunter Biden was doing some swampy stuff. So the question is this: can the president of the United States be impeached for asking for information, essentially asking for the investigation, about something that every American cares about and is a pretty high priority? Because if you frame it that way, the president was asking things that he cared about for his own purposes, for re-election, of course. But is it not a question that every American needs to know before the election itself? Would you want to be a Democrat and have Biden nominated to be your standard bearer, and then find out in 6 months that Ukraine has some control over the Bidens or some blackmail or anything like that? Now, my guess is that there's nothing there. My best guess is that if Ukraine said, oh yeah, we'll look into whatever, they just wouldn't find anything. The most likely outcome would be Ukraine would say, well, we do investigations when there's evidence some crime was committed, but unless you have some evidence of a crime, there's nothing to investigate. So if you want us to announce that, we will. Now, they probably wouldn't say that on day one. They'd probably spend a few days looking into it and say, well, we don't investigate just to investigate, but if there were a sign of a crime, we might. And we don't see a sign of a crime with the Bidens. At least I'm not aware of one. So there were two possibilities. Either the Bidens would be cleared essentially fairly quickly because there's no sign of a crime, or Ukraine knows something that we don't. Now that's also something you'd want to know, right? So if the president's asking questions which are a very high priority for not just Democrats, but also Republicans want to know because they want to have some bad stuff to say about Biden. But Democrats should have exactly the same interest, because if there's something there, they need to know it just as much as everybody else needs to know it. And if there's nothing there, they need to clear it out of the conversation so that they can go on without that hanging over them. Somebody says, Christ, I'm out of here. Oops, let me get rid of you. All right. So here's the issue. Could it ever be illegal? And I just asked a lawyer who was just insulting me online. Uh, so a lawyer said that whether or not Biden was guilty or not guilty, that there's something here that's a crime by the president. And so I asked him online, what is that crime? Do any of you know? What is the crime alleged with the president's phone call? What exactly is the crime? Is it um, is it that does anybody know? I don't even know what the alleged crime is. Do you? I wasn't aware that he was even being accused. Now the emoluments would be that he's receiving something from another country. He's getting a quid pro quo. How could a quid pro quo be illegal if he's asking a question that that the citizens who elected him want him to ask? How could that ever be illegal? Wouldn't you like to be on that jury? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the president asked for an investigation on something you would like to know. Is that the end of the jury? I mean, is that the end of the trial? If the president asks something that every American does or should want to know, how in the world do you make that illegal? How in the world? Now, you could say that he was twisting their arm, in which case I would say, so? If he's twisting their arm to find out that something that every American wants to know, I don't see it as a crime. That looks like just ordinary business to me. Somebody says it's the same thing Blagojevich in Illinois was convicted of. No, it's not. Yeah, I think Blagojevich's case wasn't he literally trading favors for, I don't know, something else. The president asking questions that the public cares about, it just can never be a crime. You could put the best lawyer in the world on that, and he can show it to you in the book. Say, look, here it is in the book. If you do something in return for something, that's a crime. Okay, unless it's also his job, which it is. So there's that. Somebody says obstruction of justice, but not obstruction of justice has nothing to do with the transcript. I've been debating this quite a bit online, and there are quite a few Democrats who believe that crime has been established. That you can clearly see that there's some crime that Trump committed. To which I wonder, aren't people confused why even the TV lawyers are not saying that? I mean, I don't see it. Maybe I'm not watching enough of the news on the left. Um, Blagovich, whatever his name is, tried to sell Obama's seat. Okay. Yeah, what's the statutory citation to the crime? Well, I guess it's that emoluments thing, the quid pro quo. If it could be established that the only reason that Trump was asking for this information was because it was a personal benefit, then I would imagine that could be a crime. But how do you know his inner thoughts? How would anybody know that he would have done this under any other circumstance? If it were not also of great interest to voters in this country, would he have done it in front of all those witnesses? Probably not. Probably not. Um, Dershowitz last night denied that it was a crime. Well, there you go. Um, they're the funniest thing I saw was I think I mentioned this yesterday. Britt Hume had a comment. Somebody said that the president's Ukraine phone call was subverting our foreign policy. And Britt pointed out that the president creates our foreign policy. So whatever he does, the president, is the foreign policy. He can't subvert himself. Whatever he does as president with other countries, that's our foreign policy right there. It's coming from the top. So Dershowitz versus Napolitano, who is right? Do I even have to answer that question? Who do you think is right? Dershowitz versus Napolitano, the two I don't want to call them TV lawyers because that minimizes them. Who do you think? When was the last time Dershowitz was wrong about something like this? And when was the last time Napolitano was wrong? I like Dershowitz's record. I like his record. I'd certainly go with that. And McCarthy said the same thing. Oh, am I pronouncing emoluments wrong? Not even close. Yeah, Dershowitz is, I think Dershowitz is close to 100%, isn't he? Somebody says Biden bragged on video of his crime. Well, now, I have to tell you that those of you who believe that Biden committed a crime by asking for that prosecutor to be removed, you would be divorced from the facts. Because although he did ask for the prosecutor to be removed, that part's no question, apparently there were enough other people in other countries who were asking for the same thing that even if Biden were wrong about it, it can't be a crime. Ask Dershowitz if there's any evidence that Biden created a crime. I don't have to even wonder what he's going to say. He's going to say no. He might say that Hunter Biden did some swampy stuff by taking money, but there's no evidence of a Biden crime. I'm sorry, and I'm not just interpreting it that way. I'm just telling you there's no evidence of a crime that we can see. Now, what that means is asking Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden should have been a very short process. It should have been as easy as, okay, what is it you're asking us to investigate? And then if we say something that's not a crime, and there's no evidence of an actual crime, that's the investigation. The investigation is one day, tell us what we're investigating. Okay, we don't investigate non-crimes. If you have evidence of a crime, we might look into that. So what the president asked for, if Ukraine had said yes, should have been over pretty quickly. And I would think the Democrats would have been happy with that. Now, this is the sort of thing I can anticipate what the anti-Trumpers would say. They would say, oh, but Scott, you're missing it. You're missing the whole point. What he was really doing is trying to get Ukraine to lie. He was trying to get them to make up some stuff. To which I say, first of all, you would have to know what his inner thoughts are, and you don't. And so without knowing that, that's a ridiculous thing. Secondly, the Ukrainian president just got in office, and he was the anti-corruption guy. Do you think he's going to go in public and accuse an American who might be the next president, Biden, of a crime when there isn't one there, or at least there's no evidence of one? I don't think the Ukrainian president, there was any risk he was going to do that. He wasn't going to make stuff up and try to crucify Biden when he's leading in the polls to be the next president. That would be a pretty bad play. No one ever gets time. Don't know what that means. Am I doing Howard Stern? No. Yeah, he was also asking about the source of spying and corruption from 2016, but I don't know if there's anything there either. So I don't know if they do investigations on non-crimes, but the 2016 election probably had some kind of a crime. Um, Burisma's lobbyists use Hunter Biden's name for access. Well, that's the part we know, right? You don't put Hunter Biden on your board unless you're planning to take advantage of his connections. So just the fact that he was on the board should have told us that. Um, so Project Veritas has some Epstein news, somebody's saying. I don't know what that is. What is it that we found out about Epstein? No, I'm not doing the view. All right. Did you see the Project Veritas video today? I did not. But can somebody tell me what is said? Can you put that in a small comment? Can I do the 5? Well, the 5 is usually just 5. So that's not the show that takes guests, except for other hosts on Fox News. ABC killed the Epstein story 3 years ago. Is that the part that's in the news? What part of the story did they have? Huh. Oh, okay. I wonder why. Well, there's going to be a lot of questions about that, isn't there? So ABC spiked a Jeffrey Epstein story. You know, they're going to be able to say, without knowing the details, I guarantee you they're going to say that they killed it because it wasn't solid enough. So we'll see. Do I enjoy book tours? They're really hard. They're really hard. In fact, I'm going to keep this short to save my energy for today because I need a lot. Yes, I'm planning to do Greg Gutfeld's show. And I will talk to you later.